Hello again, everybody, and welcome to yet another season of our Area Football Stat Leaders, brought to you again by Spitzer of Mansfield. If you need a vehicle, go find the fine folks at Spitzer of Mansfield. Season number 3 for our Area Stat Leaders for passing, rushing, receiving, the top 10 in the area. But we also added one more category this year, total touchdowns. So if your player has the most touchdowns in the area, they will be in the top 10 as well. But you've been waiting 5 weeks for it, so let's get right into things and take a look first at our area rushing leaders. And it's not Dane Nauman yet. He is second to Connor Dawson of Western Reserve. They're undefeated right now. He has 1,263 yards rushing on 101 carries. That's 12.5 yards per carry and 17 touchdowns, as the Rough Riders looking to win a Firelands Conference Championship. And then there is Dane Nauman, second place, 913 yards on 104 carries, 8.78 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns, as Highlands still looks for an MOAC championship. And then Colin Klein, number 3, the quarterback for the Mapleton Mounties, 773 yards, 1 on 101 carries, 7.6 yards per carry, and 8 touchdowns. Nearly 150 yards behind Dane Nauman and nearly 500 yards behind Connor Dawson. As you take a look at the rest of the list, number 4 is Evan Benford, the quarterback from Monroeville. Gabe Ivey from Galleon, 5th. Logan Toms, the dynamic player from Lucas, number 6. Danville's Colter Lauder, number 7. Seneca East, Blake Foose, the quarterback, is number 8. Micah Thomas from Colonel Crawford, number 9. And Skylar Winters of Shelby wraps out the top 10 here for our area rushers. Now let's take a look at our area passing leaders. Once again brought to you by Spitzer of Mansfield. Isaac Robinson, once again, last year's passing champion. 1,571 yards halfway through the season, so he's again on pace for over 3,000 yards passing on 101 completions, 24 touchdowns. And we're adding in the quarterback rating. I believe this is the college quarterback rating that we have on here. Over 200, though. That is very impressive. Right behind him is Braden DeVito, the sensational sophomore from Shelby. 1,498 yards on 78 completions. He has 22 total touchdowns, a 220 quarterback rating. And then Caden Holman, the slinger from Upper Sandusky. 1,314 yards passing, 94 completions, 22 total touchdowns. Rounding out the top 10 at number 4, Chase Ebert, 1,259 passing for River Valley. Owen Lowry from Pleasant, number 5 at 1,073. Right behind him, Alex Stokes of Marion Harding, the Cross City Rivals, at 1,017. Bogpin Miller, great season so far for undefeated Ontario at number 7. Ben Bogner from Mohawk, just under 1,000 yards passing at number 8. A.J. Bauer of Northmore, just as well, less than 100 yards away from 1,000 at number 9 for the Golden Knights. And then Derek Dean from Buckeye Central with 780 passing yards for the Bucks. Now moving on to those guys that these quarterbacks throw to, your receiving leaders. And once again, Isaiah Ramsey towards the top, 579 yards receiving on 28 catches. That is good for over 20 yards per catch, and he has 6 touchdowns. At number 2, Amar the Star Davis for the Mansfield Senior TY Tigers, 509 yards receiving on 25 catches. That's 20.3 yards per catch and 7 touchdowns for the big play maker for Mansfield Senior. 5 receiving touchdowns, 2 defensive touchdowns for him. And number 3, River Valley's Kean Shadone, once again in the top 10 just like last year, 470 yards receiving, 34 catches, 13.8 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. Rounding out the top 10, Upper Sandusky's Ethan Hill with 385. A tie for 5th, Hillsdale's Hayden McFadden and Pleasant's Aiden Smith, both with 377 yards receiving. Highlands' Caden Reichenbach, 355 yards receiving at 7. Number 8, James Renfus, 349 yards receiving for Winford. Harding's Keontae Scott at 348. And Kane Heyman from Mohawk rounds out the top 10 with 337 yards. But we're not done, folks. Now it is time to unveil our first edition of the touchdown leaders, the total touchdowns per player. You may have a quarterback that has 15 passing touchdowns and 7 rushing touchdowns, so we add those totals up. You may have a running back that has 10 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns, so that's added in to show you these touchdown leaders. Isaac Robinson leading the way with his 24 touchdowns, 22 passing, 2 rushing on the season. Braden DeVito right behind him. DeVito almost had a 200-yard rushing game for the Whippets of Shelby. That adds to his 22 touchdown total, as well as Caden Holman rushing and passing at 22. And then rounding out the rest of the top 10, Evan Benford of Monroeville, 21 touchdowns. Ebert from River Valley, 18 touchdowns. Dawson from Western Reserve at 17. Lowry from Pleasant at 16. Dean from Buckeye Central as well at 16. And then Bogdan Penn Miller and Jack Fickus of the Hillsdale Falcons at 15. So there you have it. The first edition of Season 3 for the Stat Leaders, once again brought to you by Spitzer of Mansfield. There you have it. The rushing, passing, receiving, as well as leading touchdown players through Week 5. We'll have weekly updates the rest of the way next week and through Week 11 for our champions. But that'll wrap it up for right now. I am Travis Big League Berardi, the OH Report statistician. Lenardi Berardi as well as we get towards playoff time. But that'll do it for me. I'll see you next week.